The lowest common denominator of 4 and 3, it is 12. So if I wanted to write them with the same denominator, I would multiply the bottom here by 3 to get 12, and the top here by 3, so it's a fractions question. And this bottom would have to be multiplied by 4 to get a common denominator of 12, and this would have to be multiplied by 4. But what you usually do is you go, oh, just cross multiply. But what you're doing is common denominator. And I'm going to write this next step, even though you don't need to write it. The denominator is 12 on both of these. And 3 times that gives 6x plus 9. 4 times that gives 4x minus 8. But because the denominators are the same, you only really need to deal with the numerators, because it's an equivalence. So we just don't write the 12s. We just don't bother writing them, because we're only concerned about what x is. But you guys can think, that's fine to think about as cross multiplication, and you end up with this line anyway, multiplying by 3, multiplying by 4. But you can see in the next two questions that's not going to work. Or maybe you can't see, but it's not going to work in the next two questions. Okay, so let's solve this then. Let's finish it off. I'm going to subtract the smaller x from both sides, so minus 4x from both sides, or whatever method you have, or in time in this case, not quite a method yet, but we'll get there. 2x plus 9 is equal to, that goes away, that's the whole thing. And now I need to get rid of this 9, so I subtract a 9, do the opposite operation to get rid of it, and I'm left with 2x is equal to negative 17. An awkward number, but I don't panic, because I just need to divide it by 2 to get rid of this x, or this 2x. And I can keep it as an improper fraction, or you can, that fits in negative 8.5, or whatever you want, right? Or negative 8.5 if you want to go decimals. Okay? So that's the theory. The theory is, I suppose, look at the common denominator and multiply everything by that, which we're going to look at more in the second question. Because our cross multiplication method does not work. Like, what are we going to cross multiply here? We're going to, there's nothing, well, there's 1 here, I suppose, but what about this 3? And we need to be able to deal with that. So, anyone create a method for me how I'd solve this one? Ethan?
Could you just, multiply by 3 and 6 to the, negative 4 to get rid of, the fraction?
Yeah, so you want to get rid of the fraction. You want to create what we had over here, which was, if I have something like this, x plus 2 over 12 is equal to 7 over 12. Well, then I know that x is just 5, isn't it? Because the denominators don't matter. So once I have a common denominator across the board, I can...
So would you just multiply x over 3 by 2?
Yep. Yeah. So you're going to find the common denominator. So the common denominator here is 6, isn't it? It's the smallest number of all 3. Like, you can write this over 1 if there's no fraction there. So the common denominator is 6, which means all the denominators have to equal 6. So this one needs to be times by 2. And to keep the equivalency, the top needs to be times by 2. Otherwise, you change the number. And this one is times by 6 to get the denominator 6. And this one is times by 6. Once you're confident that you have the same denominator, in this case, it'll be 6, you don't need to write it. You're confident you have the same denominator. So this multiplied by 2 gives 2x minus, now we have to be very careful here. That's 1 minus 2x. I'm subtracting this, is equal to minus 4 times 6 minus 24. That's all over 6, but I'm not going to write over 6, because I just end up crossing it out anyway, because it's the left-hand side equals the right-hand side. What's my next step? I need to deal with this minus here. This would be where the tricky ones come in. You get a negative. A negative fraction means the whole thing is subtracted, not just the 1. You got to subtract minus 2x. So I get minus 1 minus a minus 2x, which is actually plus 2x. Next step, if these two are on the same side, I can combine them. I get 4x's minus 1 is equal to minus 24. And then I add 1 to both sides. Now I can do the solving process. Add 1 to both sides. I get 4x is equal to negative 23. And my final answer then is going to be divide by that 4, negative 23 over 4. Or I can write it, what's that? 5 3/4 maybe? Negative 5 3/4. 4 fits into 23 5 times, I think. Okay. So what was my step? Find a common denominator and multiply everything by it, or get everything to it. And then we can get rid of the denominator. Let's do one more. That other one with the weird denominator. What happens if there's an x in the denominator? 3x plus 1. Okay, so our last example. We actually could use cross multiplication here if you want, because once there's one fraction equals another fraction, and I can make this a fraction, of course. Once one fraction equals another fraction, then you can use that cross multiply method if you want. What's my lowest common denominator here? Negative 1? No.
1. 6.
Here? Here.
Definitely
Definitely not 6. Yeah. No. It's a combination of what the two things you said. It's x minus 1. The common denominator is x minus 1. So it's whatever this is. We don't know what it is. If x was 5, we'd know that the common denominator was 4. It's whatever this number is. So I have to say it right. I don't know what it is, but I have to take it all, whatever the number is. So it's x minus 1. So how do I write this one over x minus 1? No? If this was the same question, we had this. Let's use a different number. We had 6 last time. 5. What would you do?
both sides.
Yeah, multiply 5 both sides, because if I write this over 5, now we have a common denominator. So I multiply by whatever this is. So multiply it by x minus 1. Yes. So I'm going to multiply by x minus 1 times x minus 1 times x minus 1. You might even need to write this, but that's what we have done. So this you can think about as cross multiplying, multiplying up here. 3x plus 1 then equals minus 2x. So I'm multiplying this minus 2 in plus 2. And I'm not going to write the denominators because I know they're the same. So whatever this is will be my denominator. And now I can solve it and actually find what the denominator would have been. So I can solve, I think adding a 2x to both sides is a nice way to go here. And I get 5x plus 1 is equal to, that's gone, 2. Subtracting 1 from both sides is a nice next step. 1. And x is 1 then divided by that 5.